Welcome back to the channel.
Today we are gonna go explore a park that's supposed to have buffalo.
Yeah, and some other historical, interesting pieces, especially if you're into silent film westerns.
So, come get lost with us.
Here is the front of the park. There's the ranch house over there, so that's where he used to live. And there's a museum behind us, and there's a sign over there that might have some directions, so we're gonna go check that out. So this is William's ranch house. This is where he actually lived, and apparently when he passed away, he donated all of this land to Los Angeles for museum and preservation, and they started this sort of area in remembrance of him. Well, let's go take a closer look at the house. It's closed right now, but we can walk around it still. So this is the ranch house. Now, something interesting about this is it's still in between properties. So it was Los Angeles, then they gave it to the city, and then they gave it back to Los Angeles. And at this point, it was owned by, I think it's UCLA, one of the colleges here it was given to. But now they're giving it back to the city to take care of, which is why it's kind of in between hands and why it's closed today, because they still haven't figured out who's managing it. So it's sort of in between two different government bodies, and that's where they're trying to figure out who owns it. Well, not so much who owns it, but when the transfer is going to take place, and then they're supposed to open it back up. So if you think about it, this house was built in 1910, and then Mr. Hart purchased the property, or William purchased the property in 1921. Those are now restrooms, but there's back houses, and this is where he lived, and he was one of the most famous Western stars of the time. So he was the big honcho in Hollywood.
And this is what Hollywood money buys you, because he wanted to get away from Hollywood, apparently.
So if you kind of remember who William S. Hart is, if you ever watched the movie Tombstone, the sort of epilogue at the end talks about how Wyatt Earp had a friend, and then they said that William S. Hart was one of his pallbearers at his funeral, right? So that was my first exposure to William S. Hart. I honestly didn't know who he was until we came here, and I was looking for interesting things to do, and they had this whole backstory in the museum, so I looked into it, did some research, and apparently he was the piece de resistance for the silent movie era of westerns. And his biggest contribution to Hollywood was making everything around him westerny. So a lot of times with the silent movies, it would just be the actors acting in front of basic sets. Well, his big thing was he wants the whole thing around him to look western instead of just him. So that's sort of his big contribution to movies, is those spectacular sets and those backgrounds. That was sort of his idea at the time.
Fascinating. I wonder if that's why there's a cinema down the road where it says subtitles, because silent movies had subtitles.
Subtitles, yeah.
Maybe.
Could be. Let's check out. They have a museum and a trading post. We'll probably head into there. And then there's also supposed to be a Disney connection here. Let's see if we can find it. If you come, they do have free tours that you can take every half hour. We're here on a Saturday, so it starts at 11. But
yeah,
there are some free tours you can do.
And it's the museum at the top of the hill. So
which is probably that red building right there.
Hopefully. And not that one.
And not that one. We'll find out. Let's go look at these old wood structures here.
So we're not too 100% sure what these buildings are, but one of them does say animal keeper on the door. And way over here, it does have a handicap accessible sign, so I'm not sure if that's to get into the trading post or to get into whatever this is.
And then we can hear the animals in the distance.
Sure can. I think they have an emu or an ostrich. I saw a picture of one. So apparently rattlesnakes are also here, so be careful. We came up and it's kind of hard to see, but that's the house back there that we just walked around. Well, Gary taught me how to use the zoom lens, so that's a little bit more zoomed in. But yeah, this is where we're at, guys. Pretty cool. So this is directly across from it. We're not really sure what Dog's Graveyard is, but it says Dog's Graveyard. Do you know? Because if you know, let us know.
Made it to the bunk house.
Not really sure what that is.
It's a bunk house. So this is where the ranch hands would live.
Oh.
That's what a bunk house is.
Okay. That's kind of cool. I guess we gotta keep going.
Further up the hill we go.
The journey continues.
Getting close to the Disney connection as well.
So he claims. Alright, we're still climbing. Here's some unique views.
Yeah.
We've hit an actual road now. Yeah. Gary said, let's go to a park today. This wasn't what I was picturing. They all kind of got out of the frame, but there's one kind of right there in the middle. But this is where they have the American bison. In a park, y'all. In California. How cool is that? Just to give you an idea of how far away we are from them. I'll zoom back in. But yeah.
One in that far right left corner rather. Need some grass. He's a little more wide open.
Let's see if we can get it on the other side. Right there in the middle. We got another one of them. Right there. Kind of have to get the camera to go between the fence line here. But yeah. He's way down there. He wants to focus on the fence, but he's down there. There's the other one kind of on the left there. I think there's like 3 or 4 down there.
Yeah.
There's a little bit clearer view. We got this guy over here coming out to talk to this guy over here. We're gonna have a convergence of the buffalo. That's kind of cool. They're just out here hanging out. What you doing, Wally? Well, I don't know. Just figured I'd give me some feed. Oh yeah, it's a great day to eat some feed. Is it? No, they're gonna avoid each other.
A little more history about the bison. Now they're bison, not buffalo, according to the sign. Apparently it's inaccurately called buffalo sometimes, but that doesn't really matter. So in 1962, Walt Disney actually donated the first herd to the William S. Hart Park. So it literally is Walt Disney gave this gift to the William S. Hart Park, and that's where the original buffalo come from. Now they have switched them out with other herds so that they can keep breeding and growing because they didn't want inbreeding, but this is basically a gift from Walt Disney to this park. So like I said at the beginning, there is definitely a Disney touch to this park.
Where are we going next?
Now we're going to the house on the hill right there. You can see the top of it, where the museum is.
Let's go. We finally hit the first map. And as it says, we are here to the La Casa at the top of the hill. La Casa. Here's one side of the house. Pretty cool. Keep on going. It wasn't just the house down there. It's just this as well. It's a pretty house. You can definitely see like some Spanish Western influence in the architecture. Makes me think of Encanto. Don't know why, but it really makes me think of the house.
2 Disney connections.
From Encanto, right? Like, I mean, I can see some of the architecture draws.
Kind of.
It's not exactly like it, but like, look at the big door, right? Like, look at the big door. It's very, very architecturally like it. And then look at that view way back there.
Yeah, imagine in the 1920s when he bought this, there's nothing there at all. Like nothing. It's just rolling hills that he would see from this house. And then you look probably from that balcony up there. I can't imagine what it looks like. We can't really see over the trees, but it looks gorgeous too with like mountains in the distance as well. Super nice. Another interesting story I found when researching this, it's kind of on the tea gossip train, but why not? So apparently when he got married to the woman that he married, he was still living with his sister too, because he took his sister like everywhere. She was on 2 of his books as like a co-author. She was in all of his movies, like in the credits and stuff. So he definitely brought his sister. He got married. They moved in here, and apparently he wouldn't close the door at night between him and his sister, and that's what his wife claimed during the divorce proceedings. So that's why they broke up, because they didn't really have any privacy ever. which is just kind of interesting. But then they get divorced, so William stays here with his sister. The wife moves out, she has a kid. He gives them each $100,000 at that time to kind of like goodbye, that's it. And that's all he ever gave them. And so all of his land and stuff and his money was just donated when he died. He didn't give it to anybody else. He figured that his son could make it on his own if he did. So it's just kind of an interesting side note of the story here, and kind of them living in this house. So this is their main house. The ranch house would have been like, could be assistants and stuff, but it also could be like where he moved occasionally if he wanted to. But this is their main house up here.
All right, so here's a view. And it's still pretty empty. I mean, you can see those houses off in the distance, but we're up here.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Can you imagine how quiet it was when you didn't have the freeway right there? There is this plaque, and it says, "This park has been dedicated by William S. Hart for the benefit of the American public of every race and creed." So down the hill just a little bit, the house is directly behind us. There's like this courtyard, which clearly they probably would have done like parties, maybe just like hangout spots, because it is shaded.
Kind of looks like bathhouse-esque.
A little bit, yeah.
But I don't see any like water, other than the water fountain in the middle. I don't see any other way for water to get there. Maybe that used to be like a, I don't know.
There's no signage to say like what this was or what this is.
Yeah. So one thing we were talking about is like, it's got to be fascinating how they got food up here, because you'd have to truck like everything, even like all the furniture and stuff in the house had to be trucked by like horse and buggy or donkey or mule or something up to the house, because it's a pretty steep climb in every direction. I don't see any way where it's easy to get up to the house.
Definitely living on the homestead.
But I totally understand why they made this decision, because the views up here are gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Our little hummingbird friend.
I just want some sugar. Give me some sugar. I know you need sugar too. You have some sugar.
From kind of where we're at, you can sort of see where the animal pens are back there. The animals aren't out, but that is where the animal pens are. Just a little bit more of an aerial view from way up here.
Yeah, and that dog cemetery, we're across from the dog cemetery again. That's actually where William buried all of his pets. So that's what the dog cemetery is, a graveyard.
That's sad.
Yeah. But it's nice that he cared enough about them to bury them.
Exactly. So the trading post and gift store was established in 1986 by the Friends of Hart Park. Also, this is how you get to the barnyard. It's over here. And they're having a book sale.
There's some of the items in the gift store that they have temporary open. So this is just temporary, while they figure it out with the state who actually gets to maintain it. And this is currently the only thing open on property. So if you're here, this is the only place to get stuff, and it's gonna be open. Here's some of his movies in the gift store, if you want them. And there's some other westerns here too.
So we have made it over to the animal enclosure. We got some chickens. This is a duck pond that cost them $80,000 to build.
85, I believe.
Yeah.
And then the red shed over there on the right, it was built by the Boy Scouts to keep them safe, because before they had birds of prey basically coming and taking out the birds in the evening hours.
Should send this over to Lori. Give her some inspiration. They're not happy with each other. This is pretty cool. Oh look, here's the emu. Pretty sure that's the emu. Because emus are smaller than ostriches. That's pretty cool.
They do have dinosaur feet.
Yeah. You know, they think that dinosaurs were actually covered in feathers. So, which is a fascinating thing to think about.
I mean, his feet are so sturdy.
Right?
It's crazy how like girthy, giggity they are.
They fat little sausages.
Fat little sausages.
Alright. Oh, he sat down. He getting comfy. All right, so back there, that's the water fountain. But yeah, this is pretty nice out here. Nice little scene to take it all in. There's a lot of ducks in here, and geese, and chickens.
There's like a llama back there. Or, what is that? Like I want to say a goat. It's not a goat.
Yeah, we're not sure. We're gonna go walk back there and see. Not really sure if you guys can see it, but back there we got a llama. Or an alpaca maybe. Not really sure. They're of that variety. And there's some other animals in here too, but we can't really see them all. A lot of them are on the other side. That's pretty cool that they have this out here. The animal exhibit, the gift shop that we just went into, and this place right over here, this hall, are the only things that are actually open on this property.
We talked with this really nice worker who is friends of William S. Hart Park. Her name was Becky. One of the things she told us is this hall, this William S. Hart Hall, is basically the only thing they have for money. So this is what generates most of the revenue that comes in for the park because it's the only thing open as the city and state are arguing whose park it is.
And apparently this hall is illegal. According to her.
Another thing that Becky told us when we were talking with her is that the high school actually wouldn't exist without Mr. Hart, they called him Bill, because basically they were trucking kids to another school. They were literally just putting them in trucks and trucking them to other schools. He thought that wasn't right, so he got with the city and got them to build the high school, which is why it's named after him. So he was really instrumental in making sure that the kids didn't have to travel 2+ hours each way every day to get to school.
And it all came to fruition within 2 months before he died.
Yeah, just before he died, he finally got to work. And there's a train going by because the train tracks are right by, which kind of makes sense why he picked this property. The train tracks are here, the train would be able to stop, pretty close to his house. All right, that concludes our quick trip here to the William S. Hart Park and Museum.
It was actually really cool to kind of see the property. If you're looking for a nice place to go on a nature hike and see animals and just see some interesting architecture, this is your spot.
Yeah, they definitely have even more trails than we explored, so there's definitely more stuff. There's like 400 and some odd acres here. 423 were William Hart's. The other ones have been donated by other people at this point. Apparently the former blacksmith of the town donated some of the land. Really cool area. Something interesting is because of his will, they can never charge you to get in here, so it is always going to be free at least.
And all of the money that they do make, so in order to make money it has to have like a show attached to it of some type, and all of that money has to stay within the park as well.
So it's a great little park. It is the piece de resistance of this town though, so if you've ever if you ever come here, this is the kind of nicest piece to it, one of the biggest downtown pieces to this town. So definitely stop in and check it out.
Yeah, so if you guys like this kind of content, give it a thumbs up.
Make sure to hit that subscribe button.
And ring that notification bell so you get notified when we do at least 3 videos a week.
And we'll come and get you all for the next one.
Ain't that the truth, baby Ruth?
Bye everybody.
Bye.